in the Land of Pure Imagination. By RJW. Once upon a time, in a park in Arizona, a young man named Robert John Westlake with his dog, Sammy, listens distractedly to his provider's history lesson, and begins daydreaming of a fictional world, which he calls his own world, the Land of Pure Imagination. He then spots a passing boy with brown hair and brown eyes, dressed in a gray hoodie, who panics of being late. Robert John Westlake follows him into a neighboring tunnel within a huge cave in the park and plummets down a deep, dark hole. Upon landing in a place called the Land of Pure Imagination, he finds himself facing a huge valley, much like Willy Wonka's chocolate room from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where mostly everything is made out of candy, except for the mountains, the ground, the grass, the sun, the sky and the clouds, complete with a river made out of blueberry lemonade. As Robert continues to follow the boy dressed in a gray hoodie, he encounters an odd assortment of characters, who ended up in the Land of Pure Imagination, just like Robert too. There was Balto, Stuart Little, Nick Wilde and, the Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka, who agree to go with Robert to find the boy dressed in gray, in order to get back to their homes. Eventually, they track the boy to his house, where he tells them that he's late for attending the royal court of the King of Tarot cards, and sends all of them inside to retrieve his scrolls. While searching for the royal scrolls, Robert finds and eats a sugar cookie inside and suddenly grows giant, getting stuck inside the house. Thinking Robert is a monster, the boy gets super scared and tries to expel him and his friends on his own. When the boy decides to burn the house down, Robert and the rest of his newer friends escape, when Robert eats a carrot from the boy's garden, which causes him to shrink to 3 inches tall. Continuing to follow the boy dressed in gray, while in the safety of Mr. Wonka's hands, Robert, and the rest of his new friends, meet a garden of talking lollipops with many faces, who initially welcome them with a song, but then banish them afterwards, believing that they are a type of mold or lice. They then encounter a joyful piano player, much like the other father, who plays a song on the piano for Robert to cheer him up, after Robert complains that he's now unhappy that he shrunk to his small size. When the piano player was finally finished playing on the piano, the joyful piano player turned into a gigantic bald eagle the size of an airplane and flies away. Before leaving, the eagle advises Robert to play a note from different keys on the piano to alter his size. In doing so, by jumping on the keys of the piano, Robert returns to his original height and presses onward with his friends. In the Sugar Plum Woods, Robert and his friends get stuck between multiple paths and encounter a suspicious talking black cat, who suggests to them to attend the art show of fables, in order to find the boy dressed in gray. However, the cat looks so suspicious, as if he were evil and were somehow up to no good. As the group decides to attend the art show of fables, in order to find the boy dressed in gray, they encounter the show in the midst of an art celebration to Mr. Matty and his friend, the artist in general, Mr. Hanratty, from the book called, No Jumping on the Bed. Mr. Matty and his friend Mr. Hanratty welcome them openly to join the celebration, but Robert and his group of friends become frustrated and extremely annoyed by their interruptions and insanity. As they prepare to leave, the boy dressed in grey appears and Mr. Parody soon ejects him from the premises. Robert and his new friends soon decide to give up on following the boy and they decide to go home instead. Unfortunately, their surroundings completely change, leaving them lost in the chocolate bar forest, and Robert begins to cry along with his newer friends and along with many of the candy forest creatures made out of candy, which soon vanish. The suspicious, evil black cat reappears to the sad group and offers a path to the hot-headed king of tarot cards, who is a doppelganger of Robert's worst enemy, Mario Sells. His short and timid queen, known as the Queen of Tarot Cards, is another doppelganger of Robert's second worst enemy, Christian. The king in turn, as the black cat tells them, is the only one in the land of pure imagination who can take them home, but only if they can escape him and his queen unharmed. In the king's labyrinthine garden, Robert and his newer friends witnesses the king and queen, whom the boy dressed in grey serves as a chamberlain, sentencing a trio of tarot cards to beheading for painting the mistakenly planted white tulips red. However, Robert and his friends agree to let the wicked, bad-tempered king and the small, midget queen invite them to play a game within a croquet match, in which live crows, tarot card guards, and hamsters are used as equipment. The equipment rigged the game in favor of the king. However, the black cat appears again and plays a trick on the bad-tempered king, setting up Robert and his newer friends to be framed. Before the wicked king can sentence them to execution, the timid and short queen suggests a formal trial. At the group's trial, the black cat invokes more chaos by having Robert and his friends within the group point him out, causing the wicked king to become more angrier and enraged than ever. At last, the king had enough of this. The king eventually sentences the group to execution, forcing Robert and the rest of his friends to flee down the Blueberry Lemonade River, with the tarot card guards in hot pursuit. When the eagle saves them, the group sees themselves sleeping through a time pool in the river below. Robert and his friends soon fall into the Blueberry Lemonade River and disappear from the land of pure imagination, where they emerge from their dreams and return to their homes. In the very end, Robert returned back to his home for lunch with his dog Sammy and his provider Miss Marna, and they all in turn lived happily ever after.